Hello, this video will be going over a tutorial of Puzzleworks' Hexagem puzzle. So this puzzle is printed by Jason from Chewy's Custom Stickers and designed by Puzzleworks. So what is this puzzle? This puzzle acts very similarly to a 3x3x2. So if you look at a 3x3x2, it has square symmetry or rectangular symmetry, whichever you prefer. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And the hexagem has, well, hexagonal symmetry. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So really, these solves are extremely similar, except on the hexagem you just have more pieces to deal with. So this edge is equivalent to this edge, and the corners are all the same. So you don't have any orientation of these edges, where you do on this. Actually, I don't think the edges don't even have orientation. You can't have a flipped edge, actually, so really they act pretty much the same exact way. You just have more pieces on this. So the way I go about solving this is I really only use a bit of intuition and only one algorithm. And so that algorithm will swap these three pieces. So this one will come down to here, this one to here, and this one to here. So, and that algorithm is R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. And then we look, this piece is isolated, so we do a D prime. And then we just repeat. R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. And then D prime, or D. So that swaps three corners. So once again, R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. And then D prime. R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, D. And then once more, R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, D, R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, and D. Okay, so that's the algorithm. And now when I'm actually solving the corners, I think of it, I make it easier on myself by thinking, so if this piece goes right here, I'm trying to solve the piece that drops down into this slot, because this is the layer that I'm going to be moving out of the way. So if I'm trying to solve a piece up here, trying to move a piece up here, well, that piece is going to just be moved back down once I do the algorithm again. So I look at the top layer, be like, okay, this piece needs to drop down right here. So I do the algorithm, so that drops down here, and then I move it out of the way so that this one comes back up. So all I'm paying attention to is this piece coming down into its solved position. So if you just keep that in mind, that'll make the solve a lot easier. So let's just go ahead and scramble it. So again, this solve is not too much different than a 3x3x2. So if you can solve that, you have a very good chance of being able to solve this. All this really is just a few more pieces you have to deal with. And center orientation, but that's not a problem. That's kind of where the intuition comes into play. And I'll be posting a link in the description to Chewy's Custom Stickers website, where you can purchase this if you want to. And I'll also be posting the algorithm in the description as well. Okay, so that's a pretty scrambled hexagem. Okay. So, on to the solve. So what I do first is I am going to solve the small triangles which act as edges. And so I want to match them up to their respective center. So their respective spot, I want to put the gray right there. So I see a gray right here. So what I can do is just bump it out of the way, move the gray into its spots, and now it's in there. So when I go about solving this, I like to solve all but one on one layer so that I could use that one unsolved spot as kind of a buffer, so then I could work on the bottom face. So let's just continue around. So this is kind of a lavender purple, which is right there. So just bump it out of the way and move it in. Okay, now we get this really very good looking blue color, which is right here. I just move it underneath its spots, just like that. Now, as you're putting in more pieces, you just want to make sure you don't accidentally bump something out that you've already solved. So purple is right there. So move it out of the way, move it over, and put it up. And as we were doing that, we actually got this kind of beige color as well, so that's cool. Okay, so this maroon we're going to use as a buffer. So we're going to put this on bottom and keep this on the R side. Keep the unsolved one just on R so I know where it is, just so I don't accidentally mess up something. So let's see. So there's the maroon, but we're going to ignore that. So I see this kind of darker pink. It needs to go right there. So I can bump it out of the way, move it over, and put it up. I got that blue in. So here's this green, but it's going to come into play with that maroon, which would solve this. So I'm going to skip the green for now. So I'm going to put in this pink, so right here. So I can bump this out of the way and put the pink up. Okay, everything is still good down here. Next up we have this light blue, goes right there. Bump it out of the way and put it up. And so the final three pieces, so one more swap will do it. So what I can do is I see that this is the blue right here, which will come up here, which will put the green down. So if I put the green in that position, I'll be able to move it up and everything will be solved. So blue can come up here. And then I put the green over here. So the only other unsolved edge is now in its spots. And then I just do another R. And everything is, all the edges are now solved. Okay. Simple as that. Now we will go solve the corners. So again, I look at this piece and I say, okay, this piece needs to drop down, and that will be its solved position. So let's just look, and we have freedom of movements since these centers won't line up quite yet. So we can just move these layers however we want to. So let's look at this piece right here. So we look at these two colors on top, blue and purple, and we try to find the edge that it goes next to, so blue and purple. So we want it to drop down here and be solved. So do we have a blue and purple here on the bottom edge, or bottom layer? So no, we don't. So blue and purple goes right here, so we're going to ignore that one for now. This blue and lavender goes over here, so again we're going to ignore that. dark green and light blue. It goes right here. Right here, so we can move this over. So dark green and light blue is going to drop down here and be solved, which is what we want. And then we're going to move it out of the way so we can continue with the algorithm. So dark green and light blue drops down. So the algorithm R2U, R2U prime, R2. It's there, and now we just do a D prime, R2U, R2U prime, R2, and then D. So now it's solved. Okay, so next, let's continue looking around. I like to, if I can, I like to just kind of go around the solved piece. I don't really like to jump around a lot. It just kind of makes things a bit unorganized and a little bit confusing maybe. So let's see. So we're looking for a red square piece. So we have two right here. Let's see if one of these goes right here. So we're looking for the blue and light blue. So neither of them are blue and light blue. So the blue and light blue is actually right here. It goes right here. So we're not going to do this piece yet. So let's try this piece right here. So it's a yellow square. It's trying to go right here. And we're looking for the dark green and dark pink. Dark green and dark pink right here. Okay, so this one drops down into this position. So that's what we want. So R2U, R2U prime, R2, D, R2U, R2U prime, R2, D. And now it's important to note, you're not always gonna be doing that middle move as a D prime. Sometimes you might need to do a few D primes or just a few movements just so you can get an unsolved piece in that slot so it moves back up. So just keep that in mind. Because if I were to do it right here, if I were to do the algorithm, this one drops down here, then I would be moving this solved piece into that position to move back up, which would make this unsolved. So it's just something to keep in mind. Sometimes you'll have to do a few D moves to get an unsolved piece into the correct position so you don't unsolve something. So next, I'm looking for a dark green square. And the edges are light blue and dark pink. So it's right here. This one will drop down here. R2U, R2U prime, R2, D, D prime, R2U, R2U prime, R2, D prime. I think I've been mixing up the D notations. Okay, anyways. So I also like to kind of solve it in chunks. So I don't like to, you can kind of do this however you want, however you feel fit. It doesn't really matter. But, so I kind of like to solve a little bit on the bottom side, and then I kind of like to go to the top side just so I can move some pieces around. Because if some pieces are stuck on this side that go like over here, then they'll never be moved onto the bottom side. So if I just like to solve kind of in big chunks. So let's flip the puzzle over. So now let's start solving some that go in this area. So let's start with this blue and lavender. Do we have a blue and lavender somewhere? It's over here. So let's ignore that for now. What about lavender and gray? Lavender and gray is also on this bottom side. Let's try dark purple and blue. It's also on this side. Brilliant. Okay, so we have blue and lavender, which is right here. So let's try to solve this piece, which we can't, because this piece goes right there. Okay, my strategy is not exactly working out, so let's just start putting in pieces randomly. Sometimes that can be better, actually. So I see this dark purple and beige can drop down right here. So let's do that. Dark purple beige, R2U, R2U prime, R2, and then D, R2U, R2U prime, R2, D prime. Okay. So we have maroon and gray, which comes down right here. So it will drop down and be solved. R2U, R2U prime, R2. And then again, you want to make sure you move into this spot, an unsolved piece. Once we start actually solving a bunch of pieces, you'll find yourself being limited with what you can actually move into this slot. So just be aware, this needs to be an unsolved piece. R2U, R2U prime, R2. Okay. So next up, let's just look around. Let's see. So this one goes here. This one goes here. So this one here, this one here. Let's figure out what goes right here, just so we can get this one out of the way, out of this layer, so we can put it in right there. So what goes in this position? Blue and light blue. So put it on the bottom, and we'll find the blue and light blue edge. Right here, I think? Yes. Blue and light blue. It will drop down. R2U, R2U prime, R2. Now we look. If I were to do a D move, that would put in a piece that is already solved. So we don't want to do that. We want to find an unsolved piece to go right there. So that's unsolved. But actually, I'm going to move this, I'm going to use this slot so that when this comes back down, it'll actually be solved. So that'll be a little bit more efficient. But any unsolved piece will be fine right there. R2U, R2U prime, R2. Okay, so now we have one unsolved piece left here, but we don't want to solve this piece right now, because then we'll have no more room, no more slots available for us to use during the algorithm. So we're going to keep this mostly solved layer on top for the rest of the solve. And we're only going to focus on the unsolved piece that's right here. And that's going to drop down and become and this will become a new piece. So let's see. So this piece will always be in the bottom layer, so that's good to know. So we're looking at the lavender and blue, which is right here. Lavender and blue, this drops down. R2U, R2U prime, R2. And then find an unsolved slot right there. R2U, R2U prime, R2. Okay, so now that unfortunately actually did solve this piece. So what we're going to do is we're just going to find any spot to unsolve this. So So we're just going to do the algorithm with this being an unsolved piece. R2U, R2U prime, R2. So now that's unsolved. So now we're going to find another unsolved piece in this layer to put right there. So that's solved, so that won't work. Here we go. That one's unsolved, so now we just do it again. R2U, R2U prime, R2. Okay, and that actually solved that, so that's cool. But the important thing is we now have this piece that's unsolved, which is what we wanted in the first place. It looks like we have the final 3 pieces. So we're looking for gray and lavender. Gray and lavender. So this drops down here. R2U, R2U prime, R2. And we find what is actually the final unsolved piece. Put it right there. R2U, R2U prime, R2. And then it's solved. Alright, so that is the hexagon. And again, it's solved very similarly to a 3x3x2. Now, your method to solving a 3x3x2 might not be the same as mine, which is what I just showed. But your method would most likely work on this puzzle. So anyways, that's how I go about solving the hexagon. So thank you for watching.